Good evening, folks. Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's the final league starting 11 prediction of the season. It's Trophy Day tomorrow at Celtic Park against Aberdeen. And what a season it's been. Let's hope it's a brilliant day tomorrow. Watching the team lift the trophy. They've been phenomenal throughout this season. Back-to-back titles. The football we've played has been absolutely scintillating at times. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Hopefully we can get a result on the day. But as I say, hopefully it's just a brilliant day of celebrating another league title for us. Obviously the backdrop is the form recently hasn't been brilliant in the last 3 games since we got over the line at Tynecastle. We haven't had a win. And I think there has been a drop-off. We've talked a lot about it in the content recently. And we've seen it before with Celtic teams, Martin O'Neill's teams, Gordon Strachan's teams. At times, once you get over the line and win the title, because that's your big goal at the start of every season, once you get there, sometimes there is a subconscious drop-off. And the manager has touched on it. He has made a lot of changes to the team, game to game. We've seen a lot of the squad players come in, a lot of unfamiliar lineups, and I think we've looked a bit unorganised and not the usual cohesive unit that we've looked all season with so many changes to the team, and I think that's obviously played out in the results. Before we get to the team for tomorrow, we need to talk about the speculation surrounding Ange Postecoglou. He has been linked with the job at Tottenham. He's obviously been linked with a few jobs this season, particularly down south. Every time a job comes up, he's linked with it in some way, whether it be loose links from the Scottish press, or something more concrete like what happened yesterday, when I think there was a story from the Independent stating that Ange Postecoglou was made a primary target, whatever that means, after Spurs lost out on trying to recruit the current Feyenoord manager. Who knows how much there is to it. As I say, it's just pure speculation. We might be sitting here panicking and talking about something that's totally hypothetical and it might never materialise, but I do fear that if he was to be offered the Spurs job, we might find ourselves in a difficult situation. I think that is probably the biggest job that a Celtic manager could be offered from Celtic. We know, I'm not saying that it's a bigger club, we know all the strengths of Celtic, and we know that if we have our Celtic glasses on, there's not a bigger job in the world. But I do fear that if there's anything to it, Ange Postecoglou will have a decision to make. But let's put it to the side for now. Let's enjoy the weekend. We've got a trophy to pick up. We've got a Scottish Cup final to play next week, and let's just enjoy this time while we have it. Live in the present, because this season has been absolutely phenomenal, and it deserves to have a proper celebration tomorrow, and hopefully we can cap it off with that treble next weekend. Okay, here we go with the team for Trophy Day. We will start in goals like we always do with Joe Hart. Scott Bain obviously played at Easter Road on Wednesday, and being at the game, I thought he actually looked a wee bit uneasy at times, but I think some people thought that he was quite commanding coming for crosses and decent with the ball at his feet at a period in the game. But obviously he makes 2 huge errors for the third and the fourth goals. I don't think that's really a shock to anybody, that we already know that Scott Bain's not good enough to be the Celtic number one, but he certainly didn't help us the other night. I think Joe Hart will come back in. I think at right back, Alistair Johnston will return. Ange alluded to this in the press conference today. That will be a huge boost for us. We know that Ralston can come in and do a job, but I think he struggled a wee bit the other night as well. And again, it's maybe hard to place any blame on individuals, because the team isn't really functioning properly just now at all, because of all the changes, because of the unfamiliar setup that we've had in recent games. But I think Johnson coming back in at right back will do us the world of good. I'm going to go for Stephen Welsh to come back at centre half alongside Carl Starfelt. By the way, just on Starfelt, I seen that Twitter post today of his parents running into that guy in the Celtic shirt at Lisbon Airport. I thought it was absolutely tremendous. I think Welsh should come back in Kobayashi struggling, struggled again on Wednesday night, Easter Road. I think Welsh, if we go with the theory that Ange has been given all of the squad players minutes to get minutes in their legs in the build up to the cup final, Welsh is the only one who hasn't had any minutes. I know that he's just come back from injury, which is the main factor there, but I have a feeling that he's going to start tomorrow, and I think it's justified given that Kobayashi. I know I just said the other day he may as well get a run of games, but that was when I thought Welsh was still out injured. He was back on the bench the other night, Stephen Welsh. I think he should get minutes because Kobayashi is just struggling just now, and I think Welsh being in there might help us. He scored on the opening day of the season, so I'm not just going to back him to play tomorrow. I'm going to back him to finish the season off with a goal as well after starting it with a goal against Aberdeen, by the way, a headed goal early on from a corner. So I think Welsh will be back in. I think Greg Taylor will also be back in. I think the less said about Bernabei's performance the other night, the better. Really struggling as well. I think struggled to make his imprint on the team when he's had the chance this season, and it's fair to say the jury's out on him so far. In midfield, that's one of the areas of the team that I did get right the other night, by the way. What I did play in the deep position, and the combination was McGregor and Hatate. Hatate moving to the right-hand side of the three, which is not something we've seen too often at all. But tomorrow I think we'll go back to the familiar look of McGregor in the deep position, Hatate on the left-hand side in front of him, and I think Matt O'Reilly will come back in and start the game. Aaron Moy still out injured. I think that's the strongest midfield we can play. And again, under the guise of starting the strongest possible team that we can tomorrow and build up for the Scottish Cup final, I think that'll be the midfield three. In the front three, I think Liel Abada will start on the right-hand side. Jota will play from the left, which is his best position, which is where we get the most out of him. And I think for a long period now, we haven't seen him start games on the left-hand side. So hopefully from that position, he can find a really good performance. I think back to the start of the season again, that opening game against Aberdeen where he was superb and he started the season like a house on fire. I think that was mostly from the left-hand side, so it'd be good to see him back in that position tomorrow. And it will obviously be Kyogo Furuhashi through the middle. Dyson made a sent-off during the week. Haksabanovic off injured. Haksabanovic misses this game, although the injury is not as bad as first feared. I think we could all see watching the game that there was a huge chance Dyson Maeda would get sent off. He had 2 or 3 fouls after his yellow card, but Ange chose to keep him on. Whether it was because he'd already been subbed on in the game to replace Haksabanovic, I don't know, but it seemed pretty clear to me that there was a high chance of him getting sent off, and that's what happened. So he misses out tomorrow. I think that's the team that Ange will pick. I think that has a more familiar look to it. I think it has a stronger look to it. Hopefully if Welsh does come in, he can bring a wee bit more stability there. And Alistair Johnson, I think, will help us on the right-hand side of that defence as well. That's one big takeaway for the last few games where we've really struggled. We've been open defensively, a wee bit all over the place. I hope if those two are to start, they can bring a bit of stability, and then from there we can build and get a much more Celtic-like performance tomorrow, because on Trophy Day you don't want to have a flat performance, a poor result, particularly after the last 3 games. It'd be nice for us to finish on a high, get a really good win, like we did last season. I know it was 6-0 against Motherwell on Trophy Day last season, but go out, perform at a high level, get a victory, and then we can all enjoy the rest of our days. So there you go. Like, subscribe, you know what to do. We'll see you tomorrow from Malone's for post-match pint on Trophy Day, wherever you are tomorrow. Enjoy it, enjoy the celebrations, and we'll see you after the game. Thank you.